If you ever feel out of control around food, you're not alone, and you're in the right place to learn practical, no-nonsense information about why you binge and how to stop. Binge eating does not mean that something is wrong with you. It's a natural but primitive brain response that you can correct. If you're ready for change, sign up for the Brain Over Binge self-paced online course for less than $20 per month. And if you feel you need personalized support, we also offer one-on-one coaching and group coaching. To learn more, go to brainoverbinge.com/subscribe. And I hope you enjoy the show. Welcome to the Brain Over Binge podcast, where you learn a simple, brain-based approach to ending binge eating. I'm Kathryn Hansen, your host and the author of the Brain Over Binge books. And I also have Coach Julie on the show with me today as well. We actually recorded this episode as a video, which both of us really enjoyed, and I plan to do that more often going forward. I'll be posting clips from our conversation on YouTube, so I hope you'll check that out. My YouTube channel is just called Brain Over Binge, and I'll link that in the show description. I also wanted to let you know that I recently got finished uploading the full audio of every podcast episode, including this one, to my YouTube channel. So if you like to listen to podcasts on that platform, know that they are all available. I encourage you to subscribe to my YouTube channel so that you can get notified of any new videos that I release. And now I'll share today's conversation with Julie. Hi, Julie. Welcome to the show.
Hi, Kathryn. So good to be here.
Yeah, it's really great to have you here. We have a really special topic to talk to you about today. You are doing the first ever Brain Over Binge Virtual Retreat, and we're really excited for you to tell everyone about that. So why don't we get started by you just, saying when it is and what is a retreat?
Yeah, so the retreat is going to take place on Tuesday, August 29th from 1 to 3 o'clock Eastern. And yeah, I'm really excited to just talk about that whole idea of retreat in general, retreating, and the benefits of retreat for recovery, all of that, because I think it's a really special practice, and it's not the same thing as a workshop or a coaching call, although there will be elements of that in it. But I really thought we could talk today about just this idea of retreating and what that means.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I do think it's such an interesting concept, and it's something that I've never done before, but I think you bring a lot of elements of retreating into your work in the group, but this is just a specific, 2 hours away from whatever you're doing to really focus on yourself, to focus on recovery. So let's just talk about how is retreating going to help people in recovery?
Yeah. So, in general, I mean, there are all different ways of thinking about retreat, right? But the idea of going on retreat, right? It's this place you can go to be alone, to get away from it all, right? Sometimes people take a retreat under a shady tree, right? Or, they might retreat in their bedroom because that's a quiet space for them. It could be something that simple, but retreats go back to ancient times, right? It was this remedy to modern living, like withdrawing a little bit to find inner peace. That's not a new notion. So just like us today, for centuries, people have needed time to kind of get away from it all, to kind of connect with their best sense of self. So that's one idea of it. And it can kind of be a break from reality, right? Like time away from our everyday lives, an escape, a chance to discover things about yourself that you never knew. Right. And so again, like if we're thinking about binge eating and disordered eating and that whole relationship, sometimes there's so much stress and self-doubt and like we're just overwrought by things in our own lives. And so taking this time, this block of time for ourselves, removing ourselves from our normal situation, it's an opportunity to change your outlook, and how you deal with your struggle. And it's a way to kind of seek comfort because retreat is done you're alone, like you're separating yourself. You could do a retreat silently by yourself, but this retreat is in community. And so you're retreating from your normal life, but you're coming together in community, right? And so even though it's going to be unique and personal to you, I'm there guiding you. There are going to be other people there with you. And so through the different things that we're going to be doing together, you're going to be given these tools to help you overcome the challenge of binge eating, but at the same time, you're going to see you're not alone. And there's something powerful about being together in community, trying out new practices together that can be very, very healing.
Yeah, I mean, it all sounds really amazing. And I think a lot of people with this problem who do binge, they feel like, oh, when I binge, I actually can get away from my life. And this is, as we talk about all the time on the podcast, this is that habit loop that it's the false promise of the lower brain. It tells you, oh, a
Sure.
binge is going to give you relaxation, and it never does. It always ends in pain. So this is
That's
a
right.
time to get away from your life, to give yourself true healing, true space to, overcome your challenges, to connect with what you truly want, and to have you as a guide.
Yeah, that's such a great point that, that's one of those excuses that people, permission giving thoughts that people use. Like, I just need a break.
Mhm.
When binging is the opposite of a break, right? I just need some time for myself, right? But binging takes time from you, right? There's the time to get the food, to eat the food, to beat yourself up after the food, all the days of recovering from that, the mental space that you've lost. Like, it is the opposite of giving yourself time or a break. It's the complete opposite of that. And so again, in this retreat that we do together, there's no net negative on the other side. You're actually taking time for yourself, and yet it's going to make time expand for you later. I mean, that's the incredible beauty of recovery, is like all the time that you regain. A lot of times people say, like, I don't have enough time. I don't have 2 hours. And the truth is that binging is what takes time. Getting back to my earlier example, like how binging's not a break. I mean, buying the food, eating the food, digesting the food, stressing about the food, searching for solutions, easily way more than 2 hours of life. I mean, I lost decades of my
Mhm.
life, right? Decades. And so, I think it was Gandhi who said, if you don't have an hour to meditate, you should meditate for 4 hours. That's the thing. You don't have 2 hours, you need 10 hours of retreat or a week of retreat. So, this idea, like, I assure you that giving yourself that time to reconnect, to go within, to be with other people who are on this same journey, or to listen to the recording if you cannot be there live, but giving yourself that time, you're going to, first of all, gain tools that you can use that truly give you a break, that truly give you a respite, but also when you're not binging because you're using those tools instead, you're going to regain so much time, hours and hours and hours and hours of your life.
Yeah, and that's a good point you brought up about gaining tools that you can then use in your life and in your recovery to kind of have your own mini retreats in your real life, because you're going to be teaching meditation practices, you're going to be teaching EFT, and I'd like to get into some of the specific elements of what you'll be teaching during the retreat.
Yeah, sure, sure. Yeah, exactly. I mean, the whole idea is that you come and we do all of these things together. So it's very experiential. There's also going to be a lot of time for live coaching. And also, all of the things that I'm sharing are things that then you can do on your own, in your own time at home. And or you can listen to the recording of it if you want me guiding you through it, because you'll have that forever as a participant. So yeah, in terms of like the layout of the retreat, so we're going to come together and I'm going to start with some mindful breathing, some really basic stuff, and then I'm going to be taking everyone through a guided meditation that's specifically designed for people who struggle with urges, with binge eating. So, everything is geared around that, right? And then there'll be coaching, right? So we're going to do a practice and then do coaching. And then I'm going to teach several different urge interrupters, things like EFT, which is emotional freedom technique, otherwise known as tapping. So I'm going to teach fast EFT, which is a tool that anybody can use at any time very, very quickly to help in the moment of an urge. I'm also going to teach other things like self-holding practices and breathing techniques and bilateral stimulation, all kinds of really easy tools to employ in any moment that you're experiencing an urge when it might feel overwhelming. So we're going to be doing all of that and then coaching. And then I'm actually going to be teaching emotion processing, because urges, the way that I teach it, are really just a feeling of over desire, which is, one emotion, desire, that we can have, right? But the truth is that when you learn to be with any emotion and how to process and metabolize emotions fully and peacefully, it becomes effortless almost to be with urges. And so I'm going to take people through processing emotion, any emotion they want. So, it could be loneliness or sadness or grief or discomfort or dis-ease or insecurity or doubt, or an urge, whatever it is. But I'm going to take people through that. So that'll be a different kind of coaching we'll do. And we're going to do a body scan live towards the end of the call with appreciation for our bodies, which is a very relaxing practice. And it's also a great way to develop a more loving and peaceful relationship with our bodies. And then for people who stick around, there'll be a special bonus. So you'll have to be on the retreat to know about that. But yeah, so those are the different elements of the retreat.
I love so many elements of what you talked about. I want to hit on two things. One is the urge interrupters, which I think is so great. And so many things you teach are about really helping someone allow the urge, to be with the urge without letting it lead them into harmful action. So if you're someone right now who you understand the brain over binge approach, you understand that these are primitive drives from your lower brain, you understand that it's not what you truly want, but you can't seem to stop yourself in those moments, this is really going to give you the help you need in that area and really give you that sort of calmness of mind, the clarity to be able to get back in touch with your higher brain. I talked about in Brain Over Binge Recovery Guide, which is right there.
Yes.
That if you are
great book, a must read.
If you are having trouble, dismissing the urges or allowing the urges, meditation is one very powerful practice in strengthening the higher brain. So in those moments, you can connect with that sense of self-control. So all these things, I think, just put you in a position to be able to not follow those urges into harmful actions.
Yeah, I mean, great point. I mean, the thing is, one of the reasons that I'm not only doing meditation in the retreat is because, well, twofold. First of all, talking about meditation, right, it builds up the skills of your prefrontal cortex. And as you do meditation as a regular practice, in those moments when you might go offline, in other words, when your amygdala is activated and you don't have as much access to your prefrontal cortex, you'll be able to bring yourself back online because of a regular meditation practice. So there is that element. But the thing about urge interrupters that's really nice is those are quick strategies when you are offline, when you are feeling activated, because sometimes in those moments, meditation isn't going to work because we're too activated. If you're very anxious, if you're feeling panicky, if you're in fight or flight mode. So these are tools to kind of interrupt that cycle and really just like take your anxiety level down, take that fight or flight response down so that you can come back online so that then you do regain access to your prefrontal cortex. And maybe then a meditation practice will be useful in that moment. But these are quick things you can do in the moment. Also, the idea is that you want to have lots of different things at your disposal because one day meditation is going to be just the right thing for you. And another day, you just need to do some deep breaths. And another day, you're going to need to do some emotional freedom techniques, some tapping. And another day, you may need all of those things because it's just that kind of a day, right? And so the idea is that you have this nice toolkit that you can carry around with you wherever you go, and everything is free and accessible and needs no special equipment.
Yeah, I love that. It's giving them tools for, outside of the moments when you're not having urges, when you really want to build up that higher brain. And you also give them tools for in the moment of the urge and getting back online, like you described it. That's a really good way to put it. I want to also talk about the emotions piece that you mentioned, because a lot of people get so habituated to following the urge that they sort of lose touch with how to process emotions and how to just let emotions be there. And it becomes such a strong connection between, okay, I have stress and then I automatically have an urge and I follow the urge. And then I never really learn how to properly process the stress or whatever emotion. I hear that a lot from people who understand that the urge is from the lower brain. They understand it's not helping them cope. They understand it's not really giving them anything they truly want in life. But they feel so overwhelmed that it seems like the easiest thing is just to follow that habitual pathway. So the fact that you're giving them this other piece that, I don't necessarily give in my books. And I think it's a really powerful thing to help people through this time when they're just learning to live life without binging. And binging is very distracting. It's a behavior that really pulls you away from dealing with all the things that you need to deal with in your life. It doesn't solve anything. It makes everything worse. But all of a sudden you're not binging and you're thrown back into real life. I think they need some tools to be able to deal with that.
Yeah, absolutely. And, the thing is, when you learn that the worst thing that can ever happen to you is an emotion, and then you realize that's our human superpower. We are meant to feel them all. And when we allow emotions to move through us, Jill Bolte Taylor in My Stroke of Insight says it's 90 seconds to process an emotion when you're not resisting it or rewarding it, right? So that's what we're going to be talking about and actually experiencing during the retreat is how to be with an emotion, whatever flavor of emotion it is that day.
Yeah, for sure. And there are so many flavors of emotions. And
Right.
I think it's an illusion that binging helps with any of it, and which we talk about a lot.
It's not uncommon when people find that they have stopped binging for a while, right? They're successfully allowing urges that all of a sudden it feels like they're having only negative emotions. The negative emotions can feel really intense for a while. And I just want to say also that's why it's so important to learn how to process and be with emotions without fear. Because at first, when you're not binging and your dopamine pathways are resetting and you're learning to kind of not be on that wild high of seeking the binge and then the crash, it can feel like, oh, why I'm feeling lonely and depressed. And like, it can feel like the negative emotions are all that you're experiencing. And that's not true. It's just that you're so not used to experiencing them that they can feel very raw. So that's another reason why it's so important to learn to process them.
That makes a lot of sense because when we're in that cycle of binging, we're constantly seeking this reward and we're overstimulating our natural reward system. So just to kind of reset back to normal, it can be disorienting for a lot of people. So, I mean, I do think the retreat's going to be really powerful if this is something that you're currently struggling with. We've talked about all of the elements you're going to go through at the retreat and how it's going to help someone who is struggling with binging. Do you have any final words about the retreat? And then I'd like to talk about, how people can learn more.
I mean, just to really consider, like, have you given yourself time to go within, time to retreat, time for yourself to heal? Because this is that opportunity. And, as a teacher, I always think of September as the new January, right? So it's happening right before September, right before Labor Day, lots of people going back into that school calendar, right? And so how wonderful to come together before then and get all of these tools so that you feel ready to recover, ready to heal. And so I just encourage everyone, if you're interested, to come because it's going to be a great day. And also, if you have any other questions about it, you can come join me on Saturday, August 26th at 2:00 Eastern, because I'm doing my free call that day. So people are welcome to come there for some coaching and any questions you might have.
Yeah, absolutely. It's definitely a great time to reset and just really focus on what you truly want. And that's a life completely free of this problem. To learn more, you can go to brainoverbinge.com/retreat, and I will put that link in the show description as well. And I really hope that all of you will look into it and join Julie on August 29th. Thank you so much for being here.
Oh, my pleasure.
The link for Julie's free call on August 26th will also be in the show description, as well as that link where you can learn more about the retreat on August 29th and sign up for that. And know that you can find links to all of the Brain Over Binge resources in the show description as well, right in the app that you're using to listen to this podcast. And these resources include my books, my course, information about one-on-one or group coaching with Julie, and any upcoming events that we have going on. Thank you so much for listening today. I will talk to you again soon. And until then, I want to encourage you and remind you that you have the power to change your brain and live a binge-free life. The Brain Over Binge podcast is produced and recorded by Brain Over Binge Recovery Coaching, LLC. All work is copyrighted by Brain Over Binge Recovery Coaching, LLC, and all rights are reserved. As a disclaimer, the hosts of the Brain Over Binge podcast are not professional counselors or licensed healthcare providers, and this podcast is not a substitute for medical advice or any form of professional therapy. Eating disorders can have serious health consequences, and you are strongly advised to seek medical attention for matters relating to your health. Please get help when you need it, and good luck on your journey. Need more help? You can find all of our current and upcoming options for support at brainoverbinge.com.